This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Richard Nixon.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Ronald Reagan.
Tear down this wall.
George W. Bush.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you.
And Donald Trump.
And a friend of mine for a long time, he only likes politics. If you ask him about how are the Yankees doing, he has no interest. If you ask him almost anything, he likes politics, and he's a professional at the highest level. Roger Stone.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone. This is The Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, and you are tuned in to the Roger Stone Show here at 77 WABC. Now would be an excellent time for you to go right to your cell phone and download the 77 WABC radio app. That way you will never miss any of the amazing programming we have here at 77 WABC, both talk and entertainment. I'm talking about greats like Larry Kudlow, who was the quarterback of the rejuvenation of the American economy under President Donald Trump, or my old friend Cindy Adams, the queen of gossip, the queen of the night. I always love her show. Frank Morano, if you're a night owl, you got to tune in for Frank Morano. He has the most interesting guests. He has the graveyard shift. But on those nights that I have insomnia, which is a lot, I never miss Frank Morano, the other side of midnight. Dominic Carter. When I met Dominic Carter at New York News, I considered him, a liberal. But Dominic Carter is a man of uncommon common sense. I really enjoy it when he faces off against former Congressman Anthony Weiner on Saturdays. Those slugfests have been very entertaining. Hey, Dominic, if you need a corner man, just give me a call. You don't want to miss any of this great stuff on 77 WABC, folks, so be sure to go download the app, and you don't have to miss any of it. Anybody knows me knows that my favorite food is pizza. Pizza is one of the 5 major food groups as far as I'm concerned. The best pizza in the world, as everybody knows, really no longer exists. It's the pizza of your childhood. That first magical bite sets the flavor which you end up spending the rest of your life trying to recapture. Very much like the famous New York Times food critic, Ruth Reichl, in my case, the pizza literally no longer exists because it was served by a restaurant called Phil Baker's, which was attached to a bowling alley in Norwalk, Connecticut, where I was born and where I grew up. The fragrance as the pizza neared your table was absolutely intoxicating. The sweetness of the tomato set off by the slightly sharp taste of the cheese, and then something else, yeast perhaps, or I don't know, a bit of basil. I'm not really sure. The crust was thin, yet so crisp that the wedge did not crumple when you picked it up, and you could put the point right into your mouth. It was wonderful stuff. And years later, when they tore Phil Baker's restaurant down to make room for the new Route 7, which actually ended up going right through what would have been the dining room of Phil Baker's restaurant, I was despondent. I actually used to ride my bicycle. I would save my pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters until I had enough to buy a pizza. And I would ride my bicycle and go to Phil Baker's restaurant. I was so young that the waiters made me count out all the change on the table to make sure I could actually pay for the pizza that I was going to order. Now, you can get a lot of great pizzas in this world, but the very best pizzas come from a place called New Haven, Connecticut, where there are two meccas of great pizza. One is Frank Pepe's Pizza. The other one is Sally's Pizza. New Haven style pizza is a very, very specific style of pizza. It's not really made anyplace else. Well, that is until recently. So Nick Laudano, I call him Pizza Nick, has opened a pizza joint here in Florida, which he is rapidly expanding to a number of places. And he has not only duplicated, but in my opinion, he has actually improved upon the great pizza of Frank Pepe's and Sally's that I just mentioned. His place is called Ah-Beetz, which of course is the pronunciation of the word pizza spelled A-P-I-Z-Z-A. That's how Italians say it, Ah-Beetz. And Pizza Nick Laudano joins us now on The Roger Stone Show.
Good morning, Roger, and thank you for the great introduction and all the accolades to the New Haven scene out there. And thank you for the support and the constant visits and critiquing of what we call our beats, New Haven pizza.
Well, Nick, I admit that I'm a pizza fanatic. Now, as I said earlier, pizza is like sex. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. And let's face it, any slice of pizza at 3 o'clock in the morning after you've had a few cocktails is always great. But you've done something really extraordinary. You have taken New Haven style pizza. And for those who don't know, Worcester Street in New Haven, Connecticut, was the original mecca of great pizza. I actually took the great Ronald Reagan to New Haven. We roped off the street, and Reagan did a campaign appearance, touring Worcester Street. He stopped at Frank Pepe's. He stopped at Sally's. You can't go to one and not go to the other if you're the president of the United States. And he stopped and had a little cannoli and some double espresso. It was a great, great day. Remember it like it was yesterday. But for my friends out there, because pizza is a very opinionated thing. I mean, everybody has a different opinion. It's subjective. I understand that some people like what they would call New York style pizza. Other people prefer this Chicago pizza, which for me has too much bread to it. But tell our listeners, what distinguishes New Haven style pizza?
Sure. So growing up in New Haven, growing up in the Worcester Street area, Fairhaven, which is a neighborhood of New Haven, I only know one thing. I only know Ah-Beetz. It's a high quality craft pizza. How else to explain it is it's unique. It's part of New Haven, and it's really by touch and feel. So what we created at Ah-Beetz was what I grew up in the 1970s, walking around the streets of New Haven with my grandmother and visiting the local bakeries, and actually the taste buds are just of that quality. It starts with, a very simple recipe of the dough, which is handcrafted, done by touch, done by feel. Your fingers have to know what it feels like. You have to be able to relay that to other pizza makers, whether they come from New York style or Chicago style, when our training process is it's done by touch and feel. We could write all the processes and procedures down we want, but it's really by touch and feel. And I like to explain, when a chef makes a chicken Marcel, it's one guy doing the chicken. Marcel, it's about 4 ingredients, takes about 10 minutes. When you're trying to make the best pizza out there, the best Ah-Beetz out there, it's about a 3-day process, 2 to 3 day process. 4 or 5 people involved in it, from the guy who makes the dough to the humidity to the room temperature to putting away the dough. Then the next day, the guy comes out, makes the dough, and a different guy cooks it and cuts it. All systems need to have to be on point. And what you're experiencing and what we've got accustomed to in Ah-Beetz, Delray Beach, Florida, is what I grew up on in 1975, 76, 77. Eating Frank Pepe's, Sally's, Grand Apizza, Palm Beach Pizza was one of my favorites. It's no longer there. I grew up 2 doors down from a bakery called Apicella's Bakery, and they had the oven outside in the backyard, and they're still around today, and they're one of the biggest bakers in Connecticut. And I used to walk by them going to school over in the Fairhaven section and go to their backyard and get the bread out and touch the dough. And, we're friends and went to school with some of the kids or grandkids at that time. So I only know Ah-Beetz. I don't know how to make a New York pizza. I don't know how to make a Chicago pizza. I could do it. I could learn it. But my passion is perfecting the craft of Ah-Beetz, and it comes from the dough, the fresh yeast, good California tomatoes, high quality cheese, Pecorino Romano, not Parmesan. We shave it off the block, and the end product in a coal fire oven, which really takes it to the next level. And we build our own ovens. I've crafted. We craft our own oven. We build them brick by brick in all our stores. I've built about 15 ovens at this point, and you've experienced it. We've had dinner a couple of times, couple of lunches there, and the guys got it down. My son works with me. All he knows is Ah-Beetz. My partner Cass, and we have New Haven in Delray Beach. So sometimes we don't even like to call it New Haven style, because it's actually New Haven pizza. It's just in a different location.
So Nick, tell us about the oven. What do you use? Fire? You use coal? You electric? How do you get that slightly burned char on the edge? That's what makes the pizza. How do you do that?
So my first oven I built was in 95, and I slammed it on the back of a railroad train. The pizza place is still existing in Wallingford, Connecticut. And I kind of modeled it from modern Ah-Beetz there in State Street. And it was an oil-fired burner. And they still use an oil-fired burner today. And we called it the Dragon because this flame, it was the regular oil burner that everybody had in their households. And the thing shot out a flame about 2 feet. And modern still uses it today. And that was the first oven I built in 1995, 96. But what we use today is I've expanded to a coal-fired. We found that the coal-fired was even easier to operate, we believe, than the oil-fired. But we use coal-fired stove today. It's normally 10 by 10 feet. We build it on site. Once you can't take it with you. It's built in place. And that creates that darkness around the crust that we call char. Some people call it burnt, but we call it char. There's definitely an acquired taste for Ah-Beetz. If it gets by the eyes and gets to the mouth, we got them, and we have a new customer. So the coal fire is where we are. That's where we plan to stay. And there's a couple good groups out there that still do it. There's not many. There's probably only half a dozen real pizzerias that still use the coal.
So one of the phenomena that many people do not even know about is the Connecticut-style white clam pizza. This is a white pizza that uses top neck clams, fresh top neck clams, garlic, maybe a little Romano cheese, a little olive oil. It's sublime. It's if you think of linguine white clams, it's kind of like that, but instead of pasta, which has to be linguine, frankly, it has a lot of the same flavor, and when it's done right, it's absolutely extraordinary. Now, not many places offer it because you got to fly in fresh clams every day. You can't go use clams out of a can, and therefore you don't find it. But tell us about your white clam pizza.
Yeah, the white clam is one of my favorites, and it's one of the pizzas that's very simple but delicate and has the cuisine of a linguine and clams, like I know you like to enjoy. So I would say that like in the 1920s, 1930s, when the white clam pizza was created by Frank Pepe's, it was a poor man's pizza. Being next to Long Island Sound, not being able to afford cheese. Most of the immigrants that came into the New Haven area worked in the factories and all the small businesses and made New Haven for what it is, and my grandparents were one of them, was that you had a piece of dough. They went to Long Island Sound. They got the clams, and they put them on the pizza with a little Romano, like you're saying, and some garlic. So it was really developed as a cheap pizza. That has changed, and it's become the most expensive pizza at this time, just because of the seafood and all the inflation and the gas and what it takes to actually do it and the labor to shuck the clams. So our pizza is done with the same dough. It's a 2-day fermented dough, and we shuck our clams pretty much daily. We're about 1 day behind. We do about 15 bushels a week here in Delray. And with the fresh garlic, never powdered garlic or salted garlic, with fresh garlic, little olive oil, the little Romano off the wheel, you have the white clam pizza that transformed over the years, and there's a definite taste for it. And, sometimes you do a little clam casino, you add a little bit of bacon and some cherry peppers on it, which makes it really nice, like a clam casino out of the shell. But really, that's it. And we refuse to make a clam pizza red. And people ask for it, and we don't turn many customers down, but we do not make a red clam pizza because every time we make it, it comes back. It becomes wet. It becomes soggy. They think they know better, and we got to have it with cheese and sauce and put the clams on, and we will not do that. So we make a traditional white clam Ah-Beetz, and that's what you had a few times. And we sell a lot of them. It's a real popular pizza.
Mic check. 1, 2. Are we recording? Hi, I'm Michelle Bernstein, an award-winning chef, restaurateur, and mom. I have a lot on my plate, including my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. That's why I was prescribed Cosentyx. It helps me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Nick Laudano, a man who knows his pizza. I call him Pizza Nick. and he's brought the New Haven style pizza to Florida. I've seen the expansion of Anthony's coal-fired pizza, which is a completely entirely different type of pizza, but I now see it expanding, started in Florida, but expanded all over the Midwest and the Northeast, including New York. When we come back, we're going to talk to Nick Laudano about his expansion plans because, folks, you cannot go on to your maker until you've had this pizza. Greatest pizza I've ever had. We'll be right back.
This is the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. This is the Roger Stone Show at 77 WABC. We are the crown jewel of AM radio. I think the most powerful, dynamic, and influential AM radio station on the place of the on the planet Earth, in all honesty. So be sure to go by the App Store, grab the 77 WABC radio app because you don't want to miss any of the incredible programming, both talk and entertainment, that we feature here at 77 WABC. This is the radio show I grew up on, and I'm so proud to be with you every Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And if, unfortunately for you, you don't live in the greater New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, you can always find us at WABCradio.com because we're live streaming in 173 countries worldwide. You never need to be without 77 WABC Radio. If you're not starting your day with my good friend Sid Rosenberg in the morning, you're really, really missing the boat, folks. So get that app. You don't want to miss any of the great stuff we're doing here at 77 WABC. We're talking to Nick Laudano, who is a man who knows his pizza. Like me, he's a native of Connecticut and a devotee of the New Haven style of pizza. Now, Frank Pepe's Pizza, which was once considered one of the great meccas of pizza, they have recently expanded to locations in Florida. I went to them with a high level of excitement and anticipation, but for some reason, Nick, I found the bottom of the pizza too crunchy, too hard. It didn't seem right. I'm not here to disrespect Frank Pepe, who was a giant of pizza, but what are they doing wrong?
So that's one of the tricks. Thanks, Raj. So that's one of the tricks is the oven and the cooking aspect of it. I'm guessing that the recipe hasn't changed much, but what has changed is in the expansions are the cooking process. And, at Ah-Beetz, New Haven Pizza in Delray, we built our own oven, and the guys are from New Haven, and we cook the pizza in that 2.5 to 4 minute mark. And Pepe's, which I've visited a few times, I was actually even standing in the kitchen. They didn't know who I was, and they thought I was corporate or something, but I'm just wandering around in their kitchen. They were at the 8 and 10 minute mark. And what they were doing was a cracker dough. So when you're putting the dough into the oven, the moisture content is how quick you cook the pizza, which you want to keep the hydration into the dough. So once you get over that 5, 6, 7, 8 minute mark, like a regular Baker's Pride or Blodgett, and that's what Anthony's Coal Fire is cooking at, and that's what Frank Pepe's is cooking at, so they can actually handle it. So their extended cook time is why their pizza is far inferior to what we're putting, 3 miles away up the street. And we'll continue to do that because we have a great training program and a good staff. So it's tough to expand, not beating up on them, but, what they're putting out is not what you received in New Haven in 1970s or 50s or 80s. So we're on the expansion train. We are expanding. We have 4 stores under construction right now, one in West Palm Beach, one in Lake Park, and one in Royal Palm. We also built a pretty cool pizza truck, a beach truck that will do parties, private events, golf tournaments, some breweries around the Palm Beach area, probably into Broward. And we're going to be the first New Haven pizza concept that will be franchisable. We're very close in being able to franchise, like days or weeks away. We have a great legal team and corporate structure for the franchising aspect. We brought a great chairman of the board in, Jim Greco, who was the CEO of Sbarro Pizza. And, we have some expansion plans and a great training process. And, one of the things I haven't talked about, and if I got a minute, the name Ah-Beetz was pretty clever. In 2015, I thought I was onto something. And when I opened up Nick's New Haven Style in Boca, my partner there was like, no one knows Ah-Beetz. Only you guys up in New Haven know Ah-Beetz. And he was right. Back in the 2010, 11, 12, it wasn't like it is now. Because of Dave Portnoy, there's a great article in the New York Times, Jimmy Kimmel, Elon Musk, and Joe Rogan. It has really caught fire. And we're in the fire wave to where, as you said earlier in the show, APIZZA is the actual spelling of Ah-Beetz. But when we were putting Ah-Beetz on our signs, everybody was a pizza. The people that didn't understand it, a pizza. So what I did was in Wikipedia, the pronunciation of APIZZA is Ah-Beetz, AH-BEETZ. Say it right. So that's our little niche. That's how we're bringing it mainstream. That's how we're going to be able to expand, franchisable, and really get the New Haven product, definitely all over the country, and have a great training process, great training procedures. Our expansion will start here in Palm Beach County, head down to Broward, over to Naples, and then wrap back around through Orlando, and kind of like do a corporate store on each county and then franchise around them. We've been at this for about 10 years, and it's actually in fruition. It's reality, and we're excited. And you got to have fun, and we're having fun. And when you come in and have the pizza, it's fun. You even had your birthday there, and we had a cake there for you and stuff. So it's been a great experience, and totally thank you for all the support. And
all right, two obvious questions, because right now everybody in the New York, New Jersey listening area of 77 WSA, their mouths are collectively watering. Plans ultimately to go to New York, Connecticut, New Jersey? Is that a possibility?
Yes, that's a very good possibility. And we get calls pretty regularly about franchising opportunities. New York could be a little tough with the coal oven. Don't know how that transpires, but Connecticut, we're in discussions with one or two groups about taking on some franchising stores. Definitely Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a great market. We have a great fan base. We have in Delray, being in Delray Beach and in Boca, we have a very good audience that travels back and forth and stuff. So the brand is really catching fire. We plan on, once we do this Florida expansion, going up the East Coast, 95 corridor, and then see where it goes from there. But I think with the professionalism and the experienced people on our board and in our directors, that we're going to be able to do some cool things with this.
There you have it, folks. The greatest pizza in the world is ultimately heading your way. But if you're a snowbird, you do not want to come to South Florida without going to Ah-Beetz. Nick, tell folks where they can find you online, because this pizza is without compare.
Ah-Beetz New Haven Pizza is in 15200 Jog Road, Delray Beach, Florida. The website is ahbeetz.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at Ah-Beetz Pizza and Facebook with the same Ah-Beetz Pizza New Haven.
Spell Ah-Beetz for our friends. as in the website address.
Well, website address is ah-beetz.com.
There you have it. The greatest pizza you're ever going to have, folks. Pizza Nick Laudano, thank you for joining us today on The Roger Stone Show.